Did you miss me? It is I, fuck! It is I, Ray, back with another fanfiction after a long hiatus. Fuck, it's really hot in the sweater. Hello my lovelies, I'm Ray and welcome back to Fanfiction Monday. It has been fucking forever since I have done one of these, and that's all of my fault. Like, I have no excuses other than the fact that I just haven't been reading fanfiction. But, despite the name, I'm actually going to be doing something different today. So, I got permission from one of my good friends to do this. So I'm actually going to read one of my friend's stories. It's not a fanfiction. She wrote it all herself. And, yeah. Oh boy, I haven't read this in fucking forever. So I honestly, God, don't remember what it is. And she's just like, I want some motivation to do some more writing. And I'm like, I got you, girl. Trust me, I got you. You're gonna have so much motivation for writing after this because you're probably gonna have people flocking to your story to all read it, which is totally not subliminal messaging for you to do, is to go flock her story and read it because I love this girl to death and I want her to continue writing. But yeah, so this is called The Out for Blood, A Vampire Prophecy. And she said it's book 1, so that means there's probably gonna have to be more. I am excited. So with all that exposition out of the way, let's just jump right into the story for today. 2 years ago, October 31st. That movie was so lame. I, Avikari Van Blidge, said, immensely bored. That movie was terrifying, yelled Jenny. She then looked left and right at all 7 of us, which consisted of me, Jenny Steely, Kurt Stewart, Aluja Mankitre, Kiri Marks, Zeeth Lanton, and Tyler Masters. We walked out the average-sized movie theater towards the ginormous parking lot where Kurt's and Tyler's cars waited. Jenny, Aluja said with a reassuring tone, vampires and werewolves aren't even real. And even if they were, I'm sure vampires aren't the eyeless, hairless creatures the movies portrayed, and werewolves aren't all rabid human wolf breeds on steroids either. You don't fucking know that, dude. Maybe they are. You've been watching too much Twilight for that shit. And I know for a fact that this author has read Twilight, so fuck you. I'm gonna be just throwing shade at this author the entire time because I personally know her. A terrible friend. There was a faint snapping noise that came from the woods to our left. Now, we all lived in Beverly Hills. Of fucking course you did. But tonight we decided to run away from the big city, and we happened to find this quaint little movie theater on the edge of some town neither of us knew the name to. It was surrounded by woods, with the exception of the huge parking lot that was an extremely long walk away. Jenny jumped a foot in the air and lashed onto Kurt's arm with a blush. Did you hear that? She whispered. It's probably some random animal, Zeth offered. Or werewolf, I said, always the helpful one. I turned around and started walking backwards in front of her. Maybe he or she is in there waiting for you to wander by so he or she can have a snack. My voice had changed to become dark and raspy. Abby, stop! Jenny whined. I wish Jason was here so he can make you stop scaring me. My bestest friend in the world and my non-biological twin is Jason Cow. He's gotten sick with the flu yesterday and couldn't come out today. Our birthday, also known as Halloween. He'd probably help her scare you, Tyler said in her soft voice. True, they all chorused. Then I stopped, making them all stop along with me. I looked at my group of friends with confusion. Where's Kyrie? We all looked around. I grew terribly uneasy, but I didn't show it. I highly value the concept of leadership, and that concept states that a leader has to be calm and collected at all times, because if the leader is troubled, then how are the followers supposed to be calm? True. I'm not saying that I'm the leader of my friends, or that they're my followers, but when things like this happen, someone has to take charge. Completely opposite to the actual author, because I'm like her parent, even though I need a parent already, which then becomes my roommate, who also kind of needs a parent, and basically we're all just a giant mess of people. We called her name a few times, and then everyone looked at me for what to do next. Okay, I said. I'll go back to the theater and see if she's there. Maybe she went back for something. You guys get to the car and I'll meet you there. Kurt stepped forward. You shouldn't go back there alone at this time of night. I'll go with you. I smiled. Aren't you sweet? I said in an adorable voice. I'll be fine. I have some new taekwondo moves I've been itching to try. Cha-cha! Cha-cha! Cha! Then I shot off towards the theater. After thoroughly checking the theater, I was both disappointed and worried to find nothing out of the ordinary. I lopped back in the direction of my friends, scanning the ground and surrounding area, hoping I wouldn't have to go back to my friends with the bad news. I stopped and saw Jenny's cute pink phone lying on the sidewalk all alone. Definitely worried now. I glanced toward the faraway parking lot, but I couldn't see any lights on in the area where the cars were parked.
So I guess this means no ice cream later.
And that left the woods. I picked up the phone and my heart skipped a beat when I noticed blood smeared on the keypad. It was still wet. Unnaturally frantic, I looked around, desperately hoping that they would jump out of nowhere in a cruel attempt to scare me. No one came, and I assumed the worst. Another crack came from the woods, and I automatically bolted in that direction. Even though my brain told me that was an incredibly stupid idea, I reached the edge and entered without hesitation. And this is how a lot of people die in horror movies, that they decide to be the hero, and next thing you know, they're dead. Because don't try and be a hero, kids, especially when you're deep in the woods and there's no lights around and everyone fucking disappears. You basically try and get the fuck out of there because that equals death. But then I stopped. I let my eyes adjust to the darker darkness as I strained my ears, in case one of my friends called out for me to help them. But it was deathly quiet. I started to run deeper into the woods, pausing every few minutes to call out for one of my friends. Kurt? Zeth? But no one ever answered. Half a mile later, I tripped and fell over a log. I was panting harshly, and even though I knew I could only go but so farther before I passed out, I still forced myself to get up. When I looked back at the log, I realized it wasn't a log. It was an arm.
Aw, shit, son!
Attached to the thick, muscled arm was Kurt. Kurt was lying on his back in the dirt, unconscious. I knelt down, grabbed his arm, and pressed hard on his wrist with my thumb, searching for a pulse. After a few seconds, I still felt nothing. My heart skipped a beat and tears threatened to leak from my eyes. I pushed them back and tried to feel a pulse on his neck. Instead, I felt two small depressions side by side. Confused, I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and held it above Kurt's head. I gasped at the gash on his cheek that made a blood trail over his jaw and down his neck. I forced my eyes away from the blood and looked at his neck. The two depressions I had felt in Kurt's neck were actually two little holes. So a freaking vampire killed him? Wow! Who would have fucking guessed that after watching a horror movie with vampires and werewolves, they'd be actual vampires? Let me guess. In one of the chapters, werewolves eventually show up. I know your trick, girl. I can read your mind. You can't fool me. I'm just making a fool of myself at this point. She's gonna be watching this video later too, and she's gonna be like, "Wait, what the ever-living fuck?" And I'm gonna be like, "I don't know what you want from me, fam." Also, I'm really glad that that arm was actually still attached to a person, because I actually thought it was decapitated, and I was just like, tasteful. I got shakily to my feet and used one of the trees for support. I didn't know if I could stand on my own, but I had to find the others and see if they were... No, they are alive, and I would find them. Using the light from my cell phone, I started to sweep it back and forth across the ground as I walked unsteadily. I wasn't hoping for another dead body, but rather something that could lead me to the rest of my friends. I got nothing else for a yard and a half, but then another meter or so, I ran across another hand. This one belonged to Zeth. I shone the light on his neck and saw the same two puncture marks that were on Kurt's neck. A lonely tear slipped down my cheek as I saw the rest of my friends scattered in the general area around him. Everyone except for Jenny. Where was she? Yeah, Jenny. Where'd you go? Like, I'm pretty sure Jenny's the white girl. Shouldn't she just be, like, the first one dead? Let's be 100% honest.
Abby, please, someone help me!
Jenny's screams echoed from somewhere off to my right. I shoved my phone in my pocket and immediately bolted in the direction of her voice. My breath was ragged, my heart was thumping erratically, and my eyes were watering from the wind flying past my face as I ran towards Jenny. My foot slipped once and I fell to my knees, but I was up again before the thalamus could send the pain signals to the somatosensory cortex in my brain. Those are some big fucking words, girl. How the fuck do you know those words? How much research did you do? There was a whoomp up ahead, so very close, followed by a blood-curdling scream that was abruptly cut short. I made myself go faster in an effort to save Jenny. I shot out into a small clearing and I stopped suddenly, then hurried over to where my eye spotted a tiny figure wearing a sparkly pink jacket. I dropped beside her and hastily pulled out my phone and checked her neck. I bit my lip when I saw the holes. I checked her pulse anyways. I sighed heavily with relief when I felt a pulse. It was weak, but it was there. Not for long, fam. I have a feeling that it's not gonna be for long. And basically all her friends are just dead at this point. Like, I just need the book of just all my friends are dead, because I feel like that's this chapter summed up in like a sentence. I checked my phone and groaned out loud when I saw that there was no signal. I tucked away. I didn't have the time to search for a signal that would take hours to find. I was still exhausted and probably on the verge of passing out for good, but I still slid my arm under her neck and knees and lifted her onto my lap. Then, with a grunt, I stood up. My vision blurred for a few seconds, so I stayed as still as possible until it was back to normal. I knew that I would find my way back out very easily. I just turned around and walked back in the direction I came from and then turned left at all the bodies of my dead friends. Simple. Yeah, simple geometry, fuck. I'm never gonna be able to see the word simple and not think simple geometry ever again. Fucking thanks, Overwatch. Piece of fucking shit. When I turned to hurry out of the forest into the nearest hospital, I found a man with red hair.
Which was definitely dyed, and nobody had hair as bright as the actual color naturally.
Standing a tad bit close to my face, I assumed his age to be about 20 or 23. He has a smooth jaw, ordinary nose, and lips that weren't too small, but also weren't too big. The perfect size. He looked like an ordinary guy, except for the glowing red eyes with the hungry look in them and the pure white fangs. I do what most people should do when confronted by their friend's killer. I lashed out at him, attempting to kick him in the ribs. While I'm holding my friend, I somehow managed to fucking kick this guy. Not sure how that worked out, but did something. I didn't expect him to do what he did, which was to catch my ankle inches before my foot connected. Well, never mind. So much for that worry. My eyes widened as I looked at him. It was at that moment that I accepted that vampires were real. I was the quickest, most balanced out of all my peers in my judo, taekwondo, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu classes, so no normal human being could have stopped my foot like that. I like how she has put the emphasis on human, but she knows she's not against a human, and she knows she fucked. Damn, I wish that was an actual quote. Anyways, and if vampires are real, I'm guessing werewolves, ghosts, witches, warlocks, demons, and all those other supernaturals I read about must be real too. I kind of wish that she actually said that, to be 100% honest, but, I don't think it's what you say to a vampire when you first meet them. Holy shit, you're a vampire. Never mind, you can say that. It was his turn to look surprised, then his face relaxed, and he said, yes. Not many people figured that out first. I think a few things gave away. Maybe it was the red eyes, the fangs, or the fact that my friend's missing blood. Many things that could point to you being a fucking vampire, my dude. How could people not guess? What the fuck? How young are you? He's such a little BB vampire that people don't recognize him yet, even though they probably should. Or should be the opposite, where he's such an old vampire that people don't recognize him, even though... I'm just gonna keep going. I don't know the fucking anatomy and how vampires age and all that bullshittery. I glanced at my leg and he let it go. People don't usually believe it when they see something straight out of a fictional novel. I said, but you do. I shrugged. Not stupid. The vampire glanced down at Jenny, and I instantly tightened my grip on her. I was getting past this vampire and to the hospital, no matter what. Your friend just died, he said simply. Thanks! Fucking thanks, fam! Just nothing else, just, yeah, your friend is dead. It's like, what am I supposed to do about that? Fuck you! I narrowed my eyes at him, refusing to believe it, but I still lowered my ear to Jenny's mouth, listening for any hint of a breath. After a minute, I still felt nothing. At that point, I knew she was dead, but my fingers still made their way to her neck, pressing way too hard on the skin like they were trying to force a pulse to appear. As a tear raced down my cheek, I lowered Jenny to the ground slowly. There's no use crying about it. She wouldn't have made it out of the forest alive, whether you left right away or not, the vampire said. I wasn't listening. A red-hot rage was building in my chest, and instead of pushing it down like I usually do, I let it flow throughout my entire body, well, everywhere except my mind. My sensei told me that if I never let my rage consume me completely, I would be the perfect fighter. That's why I'm the best fighter, besides Jason, who's just as good as I am. I know. So with a clear mind and angry body, I leapt up from where I was crouching beside Jenny's corpse and lunged at the vampire. The vamp moved faster than I thought he would. A second before my fist connected to his face, he disappeared. I straightened quickly, nearly losing balance. I quieted my angry breathing and listened for an unlikely chance that I could hear where he was. I'm not stupid. I read up on my supernatural creatures, and I have to say that out of all of them, vampires are my favorite. They're everything that I plan on being like, minus the blood-drinking part. Cunningly fast, flexible, strong, plus they're seductively dangerous killers who can't be killed by any normal means. Amazing, right? And yet apparently you can't realize that you can't fucking actually fight them 1v1, okay? You can't do this as a fucking human. I felt the breath of the wind that made a string of my hair tickle my face. I turned and took a battle stance. The red-haired vampire stood there, hands in his pockets. He looked bored. You should stop now, you're not going to hit me, he said. I knew he was probably right, but that didn't stop me from lashing out with my leg this time. Again, he dodged. I turned in every direction looking for him. After a few spins, I found myself face to face with him again. He grabbed my upper arm in a death grip and forced me to look at him. I didn't dare cry out, even though I knew there would definitely be bruises later if I make it out of this. Your friends would have died if I hadn't gotten to them first. I gave them a better life. And if you would just calm yourself, I'll give you the same thing, he said to me. I acted like I didn't hear a thing he said. Go to hell, I spat. You're not gonna make this easy, are you? In an answer, I kneed him in the groin. He fell to his knees. You tricky little... I didn't let him finish his sentence. As soon as he fell, let the momentum carry my leg across his face. He fell on his side and I turned and ran. I read enough about vampires to know that my hits barely hurt him. He was just playing along. He's letting me get a head start before the hunt really starts. He's going to follow me until I bore him and then he'll go for the kill. I smirked as I thought. I wasn't going to give him a good hunt. I stopped in my tracks and started to slow my breathing, even though my heart was pounding. I looked at the sky through the trees and managed to find the North Star. I headed east, figuring that was the way out. I don't think that's how this works, to be 100% honest, but you're the expert. I'm just a poor, naive soul who has no idea what they're talking about. I ran steadily, ignoring the snapping of the branches and occasional rustling of the leaves that I knew was the vampire trying to scare me. Little did he know, I don't scare easily. I haven't found a thing I'm afraid of yet, so when his voice carried itself to me from almost every direction, I couldn't help but roll my eyes. You know you're not gonna make it, his voice whispered. I stopped running. Yeah, I know, but I never go down without a fight. You call this a fight? You call this a hunt? I countered. If you're going to kill me, I prefer if you would do it before I die of boredom. The vampire appeared before me. Why did you run if you knew you weren't going to make it? 'Cause fuck you, fam, I do what I want. I knew the answer, but I didn't tell him that. Instead, I looked at the full moon and remembered Jason. I was glad he wasn't here, glad he won't die along with me. I looked back at the vampire and smirked, because I liked the rush. The vampire checked me out with his arms crossed, my fingers curled in a fist. The day God commits a sin will be the day I let this guy do anything to me. Never mind, not even then. You'll make an amazing vampire, he said matter-of-factly. My eyes widened. What? Hold on, excuse me, sir? Sir. Hold on, I've seen this before. I've seen this plotline before. I know what you're up to, fam. I hated your game. He smiled. I didn't kill your friends. I injected them with the venom in my fangs. But I think I'll turn you the traditional way. I took a step back. No way, I don't want to be a vampire. You don't think it'd be cool? Well, I had thought of that. He took a step closer and I took another step back. I think you'll like it. You'll even thank me one day. I highly doubt that. I braced myself. He shrugged and then looked at me seriously. Now, let's get on with this, shall we? All bets were off. I'll be damned if I let that bastard turn me against my will. So I ran. I ran like the devil himself was on my heels. I pushed through bushes, jumped over fallen trees, and slapped lower branches out of my face. I got multiple scratches on my face and arms, and many of them burned, but I paid them no mind as I ran. I scolded myself along the way. I let him get to me, and now I could barely think straight. I didn't know whether I was going deeper into the woods or out of it. All I know was that if I stopped, I would become a vampire. Yet, I still didn't make it very far. I ran for maybe 3 minutes. When he appeared directly in front of me, I plowed into him. He grabbed my wrist and pushed me against a tree, kinky. He held my wrist above my head with one hand and pressed his legs against mine so I couldn't kick him and get away. There was nothing I could do. This was it. The vampire locked his brighter, blood-red eyes with my emerald-green ones and smiled. His fangs were fully elongated now. Don't worry, you'll be a beautiful vampire. He tried to reassure me. I spit in his face. That's the only thing you can do in that situation. He sighed and wiped off with the back of his free hand. Very well then. He held my face to the side with his hand, exposing my neck. Then he opened his mouth wide and sank his fangs into my skin. It stung at first. Then I felt a pleasurable pull in my neck. I lost all reasonable thought. I was happy, joyous, and totally oblivious to the fact that a vampire was drinking my blood. It felt good, in fact. Like a full body massage after a day full of stress or stepping into a nice hot bath after playing outside in the snow. I let myself go and totally engrossed my body and mind into the feeling. I don't know how long it lasted, but once I felt his fangs pull out with a slight kissy noise, I regained some of my angrier thoughts and struggled weakly. Well, you definitely got spirit, I heard him say, but it was as if my ears were filled with cotton balls. His voice sounded distant. I managed to crack open my eyes, but I don't remember closing them. And I saw the vamp tear into his wrist. He pulled away and licked his blood off his lips, and then pressed his bloodied wrist to my mouth. Drink. You'll feel much better when you do. Oh. I fought against him helplessly, but a drop of blood still managed to find its way past my lips. And once I tasted that small bit, I was hooked. It was like every delicious dish had ever created was mixed together into a heavenly dish and then turned into a liquid and injected into this vampire. I opened my mouth and his blood poured down my throat. I greedily sucked it down. I was even trying to pull my wrist out of his hold so as to get a better grip on his arm. I was devastated when he yanked his arm away. He was breathing heavily as he licked the gas on his arm. I watched in drunken amazement as the wound closed up cleanly. Then he let me go. I slid to the ground, unable to hold myself up. My body felt like lead and I was so tired. I bet you're tired now, the strange vampire said. Go ahead, take a nap. It's okay. Just fucking take a nap in the middle of these fucking woods. Like, why not? There's nothing stopping that. Just go the fuck to sleep in the middle of the goddamn woods in the middle of the night after seeing your friends fucking be attacked by a vampire and you yourself been attacked by a vampire and turned into one. Like, I'm low-key judging. His voice was soothing. I should probably do what he says. A small part of me was annoyed by the fact that this guy was trying to tell me what to do. But I'm so tired, I thought. I'll just rest for a little bit, and then kick his ass later. So I did. My heavy eyelids gratefully shut and my body relaxed. I barely even registered when my heart slowed and then stopped. That was a fucking adventure! What the... I was gonna read more. I was planning on reading more, but now I'm just sitting here like, this is gonna be hell to work with. Thanks, fam. You are the bestest of friends. But yeah, so that was chapter 1 of Out for Blood, A Vampire Prophecy. Only the prologue, so I didn't actually get to the chapter 1, but you fucking know what I mean. I love this girl to death. And I can see that her sass has just been flowing through this book and into this character because so much sass. So much of it. I'm very proud. I'm proud of my child. And I hope y'all liked it too, because I'm basically putting this in the description down below and telling y'all to read the fuck out of it. Probably gonna put it in the end card too and tell you to read the fuck out of it, because give this girl some motivation to write more of the story. And I now will not ask her for permission next time, because why not? If this video does good and she gets a bunch more reads on her story, then I'll read her other story for y'all, and then we'll see how that one goes, because I haven't read that one yet. I'm meaning to, but I kept forgetting, and I find really shitty fan fictions instead. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, check out my other videos, recommend me stories, whether it's the actual fan fiction or the fandom. I'm always interested. The only reason I'm putting this story out instead of my normal fan fictions is because, again, this is a very dear friend of mine, and she gave me permission to read the story on my channel, not her channel. Fuck her. Fuck her channel. She doesn't have one. That being said, don't forget to stay mythical. I'll see y'all next time. Goodbye, my lovelies.